Hello and welcome to another episode of Enterprise Morning on Enterprise TV. I am Henry Igwebike, and of course I have the finest of them all.
I'm Chinyere Igwe. Good morning. Hope you're doing well.
Chinyere, how are you today?
Oh well, I can be better.
Good response if you ask me. Well, this a great morning we have, and we have our newspaper reviews today, which will be taken in a jiffy, and after that will be our main conversation also for today. So I will get what I would call a bumper episode ready for you. Please do well to visit our website at www.enterprisetvnews.com. Like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. With us today in the studios to discuss our newspaper reviews is Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Henry. Good morning, Chiri.
Glad to have you, sir.
Thank you for having me here. It's my privilege.
All right. So we start off the newspaper today. I think let's start with the Daily Trust.
All right. So on the Daily Trust, the big story here reads: NLC CSOs reject electricity tariff hike.
Yes, and the writer there says expect a power theft. As NAC chair says. And we have on the top a strip of the same newspaper, Tinubu signs a student loan amendment bill.
All right, still on the top strip, customs worried as CBN hikes duty rates 28 times in 3 months.
On the bottom strip of the same newspaper, we have a banditry. 289,375 persons displaced in Kaduna, and that's coming from the officials there. So I guess let's start off with the big story here. NLC CSOs reject electricity tariff hike. Barrister Tunji. This is coming at a time when already Nigerians are overburdened with the issue of subsidy removal and its consequence, and also the floating of the naira. What do you think this would do to Nigerians further?
And before I go into that, answer your question directly, let me also join NSC and TUC to reject the new electricity tariff. For me, I see that new tariff as insensitive and even discriminatory against the poor Nigerian masses. It is insensitive in the sense that, just like you said, we are just subsidy was removed on the not the pronouncement of the president regarding subsidy is gone on the 29th of May 2023. The consequences are still on ground. We have not been able to even resolve the solution, the problems created by it. The love as cheap as was on the land at the time because of that pronouncement. And the government has seemed not to have solution to those problems. The only benefit, I have not seen the benefit of this subsidy removal, because in any way, I was one of those who does not believe that subsidy is our problem. They say, the so-called experts say it's our problem, and once it's removed, our life will be better. But today, we can see that our life is not better. The only benefit they say we have been gaining from that subsidy removal is that governors now have more money without impact on the life of the masses. I don't know how sensible that is. To me, I see that as barbaric and not even enough. I said it's insensitive in that regard because at the time while we're going through hardship, we are increasing more burden on the masses. Even though they said there is only a few people that will be affected, and that's where I come and say discriminatory. Discriminatory in the sense that, look, by section 14(2)(b), this section is always every day of the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. The primary responsibility of the government is the security and welfare of the people. The welfare we're talking about here include constant provision of electricity that will make life of Nigerians meaningful. You are saying that, look, there is this classification they say band A, band B, band C, band D, band E, or whatever. And they say band A are people who are getting light 24 hours and 20 hours and above. B, 16 hours. C, 8 hours. E or D, that's E, they say 4 hours or less. Those are the people in that category.
And possibly people who do not get light.
How do we come into this classification? Which part? We are all Nigerians. Whether you are, because all these people in Band A are people who either live in a high brown estate or those who are into business, manufacturing businesses. That's another angle to it. If I'm in the manufacturing businesses, producing whatever, and I'm paying this type of the new rate, what do you think will happen to the product I'm producing? There will be increase in that, and that will create more hardship to Nigeria. I say discriminatory. I'm not aware that we have any minimal electricity supply to any Nigerian in this country. For you to classify anybody into any category, there must be a minimal standard that every Nigerian, irrespective of where you are, irrespective of where you live, irrespective of your income, you must have at least 10 hours, 15 hours, 20 hours light a day. If you now want to get more beyond that 15 hours, you cannot be classified as so category, and then therefore you will pay this rate. That is when that classification will be meaningful to me. As it is today, if I were in the category of those classified as Band E or even less than Band A or Band whatever, that will be getting lesser light, I will sue the government. That means the government is discriminating against me because of my less privileged status. Because of where I live, because I don't have money. So what they are saying is that we can afford to give the light to people who can pay for it. Those of you who cannot pay for it, sit down. If you sit for 2 hours, be happy. If you don't see, be happy. That's what they're saying. Because that's the meaning of what I must tell you, I must confess. I'm seeing light. Because I'm in band A. I see light minimum of 20 or 24 hours. Even some days, for 2 days, 3 days, there might not even be any outage. As it is today that people are saying no light everywhere, I have light too. I slept through the night until I left my house this morning, the light still there. So what I'm saying is that classifying Nigerian citizen into a category, and with that category will mean that you will benefit less. It's discriminatory as far as I'm concerned.
Very true.
It is discriminatory as far as I'm concerned. And I will encourage those in that category to take action in this respect. The government is not about making money. But what I've seen from this government is that their intention is just only about we want to generate income, IGR. What they are doing with the income being generated, I don't know. You can see the Controller General or whatever, Customs, you can see what he said, that in 3 months, what we have been seeing is increase in this, increase in that, the removal of subsidies in that, and we are not seeing the corresponding effect on Nigerian citizens. A government who can sponsor pilgrimage, subsidize it with 90 billion, cannot subsidize electricity. But they are benefited by the majority of Nigeria. Those that will be going for the pilgrimage are not up to 1%, and they are rich people. Because for you to go to a pilgrimage, you must at least now, as of today, you must have minimum of 5 million naira.
But
so how can you now say you are subsidizing those kind of people? And people who are not even earning 30,000 naira, whose salary has not been increased for the past how many years, and despite the consequences of the effect of the subsidy removal, you are still putting more burden on them, even though you said, because it's not everybody that lives in a Band A area that is rich. Some people are privileged they are just opportune to be there. Some were rich, or some were civil servants at the time when they were in that area. Now they are pensioners. And they will also be paying the same thing. So for me,
yes,
it's not the way to go. It is sensitive of the government.
Yes, sir. But don't you think it is fair to say, since the discos are privately owned now, and what they have actually stated is the fact that gas supply is high, and often the exchange rate is equally the reason for that. So don't you think they have the right, as a privately owned business, they have the right to classify consumers in accordance to that, and of course give them the rates that they have given them now?
If they are fully independent, then they'll be right. This increment was announced by who? By agency of government. So it means it's not if we are to be them, I will be the one to go to them and say, I want to join your what's it called, and I will have a choice to negotiate with them. I don't have a choice in this category. It is wherever the government says I should go, that I will go. It is whatever the government says I will pay. The announcement was made by who? By government agency. So as far as I'm concerned, that is not, even though they are private in public, that's what they had now. They are still in between, because there are some things they will do that government will also be there. People will tell me NEC is just a regulatory body. Regulatory body in terms of what? Announcing price, increment in price. If I'm doing my business, they will not come to my office and increase price for me. I'm also a private business owner, and nobody will come to my. We have regulatory agencies, I swear. They will not come to me and say, this is your fee to be charged. This is what you are supposed to collect here. This is how to do this and that. Though there are some minimum standards in that regard. But for me, as long as the government still have a role to play in terms of even provision of is it transmission or which one is government involved now? The government is still involved in the generation of electricity. Yeah. So they are still part of it. It's not. They are not totally what's it called? Private, and even though in law, by law, by their registration, they are private. By their operation, you can't classify them as just independent. Let's even assume that they are total private company that as you see, yes, they are on paper. Should the government that is sensitive to the welfare of its people not be concerned about this? Government should even be the one checking them out and say, look, you cannot increase beyond this. This is putting more burden on my people. Then what are we seeing today? The same government is the one backing them and saying, look, for us to get light. That's what they said to you people. Because I remember when we are not having, before the PIB was passed into law, what we have been hearing is that once the PIB is passed, everything in our oil businesses become Eldorado. Once subsidy is removed, we enjoy fuel or whatever they call it. Have we been enjoying now? Those who so-called experts, who have interest in it, they will come to us and start bamboozling us with paperwork pronunciation and then say, at the end of the day, practical, we won't see anything. As far as I'm concerned, the government has a responsibility of coming, let's even assume that they are private, or coming in between and say, look, you cannot do this. Right. This will affect my people, and I will not allow it.
Very true.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tunji. There's something I'd love for you to address. It's unfortunate that you mentioned inter alia that government is complicit in this instance. I was talking to Henry earlier on and telling him that we now pay for darkness because we're paying and then there is no light. But if government is supposed to act as the ombudsman, and unfortunately we are seeing the extent of malfeasance on the part of the government. Just last month, the federal government had told or instructed NEC to revoke the licenses of non-performing power sector providers. Why are they not matching action with words in terms of revoking their licenses?
When you gave me instruction, I carry out the instruction in line with what you are thinking. What will you punish me? That's what they are doing now. What you are seeing, what the discourse are doing is not on their own. There is in collaboration with government. This government is only about generating money. They are concerned about where money will come from. That's their concern. It's just about making money. And it's not their fault. Nigerians, when the current president was in Lagos, and people were praising that he increased the IGR of the state, people did not ask questions. How was it increased? At what cost? What was the impact on the life of the masses? People did not bother. What people will bother about is from 10,000 naira to 100 million. This is how they increase it. This is how they get it. By putting more hardship on the masses. So when they impose more hardship on the masses, they get more money, and people will praise them, and then they will continue to think they are doing well.
Speak to how this will directly impact small business owners.
Not only small, it will impact everybody, because those band A, if you don't know, the people classified as band A are not only residential buildings or estates, are people who are into manufacturing and industrialists. They will be paying more now to do their business, to produce. So when I pay more to produce my products, what do I do?
Price will increase.
So what would that do? It will create more hardship on the masses. So the government that should be thinking of how to reduce the hardship is bringing out policies or is supporting policies that will impose more hardship on its people. As far as I'm concerned, that government is not sensitive to the plight of its people. And it's not about generating money. It's not the money they are getting now. It's not even being used. If you say they are even using the money to our benefit, yes, it will be okay. What they are using is just to fund their own lifestyle. You can see them buying SUV, buying yachts, buying this and that, do this and that. So for me, as far as I'm concerned, there is no justification that nothing you can say that will justify this increase. Even if you tell me, but people will say it's not for everybody. It's for those people who are not under everybody. are they going to see light?
Very true. All right, so quickly let's move on to our next daily, and this coming from the Guardian newspaper, and still with the same story, 2 million households to pay 225 naira a kilowatt as prepared meter hits 300,000 naira.
All right, still on the Guardian, we have Abure reportedly escapes assassination, home gutted in fire.
And also we have it here, federal government decries a rising abscondment by university teachers.
All right, transparency, eligibility concerns unsettle new attempt to student loan scheme.
Okay, so we have so many interesting stories here.
Right.
And I would love us to maybe, if it's possible, co-join some stories here and maybe have a barrister to answer to them. Now, let's start with the federal government, decrying a rising abscondment by university teachers. Of course, we all are very familiar with the Japa, syndrome, but it's becoming alarming. And the question is, what do you think of the future leaders when there are no teachers to teach them?
When the environment is not conducive, this is what happens. Even the current president, when the environment was not conducive, what did he do? He jackpot. You remember during the days of Nadeko, when the environment was not conducive for them, and they were not able to do their things the way they want to do it, they are not enjoying it, he has to move out. So if the lecturers are not enjoying what they are doing, and they are not even meeting their minimum standard, what do you expect of them? They don't go and look for greener pasture elsewhere. So if the government does not want them to go, the government should do the right thing, make them more comfortable. If you even pay them 10% of what they collect outside, probably most of them will even stay. They are not, I'm telling you, most of the people who are going abroad are not comfortable. Some of them will have to leave their families in Nigeria.
Really?
Going up and down. Some of them will not even be able to they will still be there. When you are abroad, it's not a joke. You work. You don't play in the day. If you want to make it there, you work. It's not in Nigeria that you have a pleasure to even enjoy in a bit and then do whatever you want to do at your own pleasure. There you must work. So if it's not as if those who are traveling out, who are doing Japa or whatever, are comfortable with their Japa. They want to be in the country. They want to contribute their quotas. But the environment is not there. It's not conducive. A medical doctor who wants to practice in Nigeria, who does not have a facility to practice, what do you expect of him to do? A computer IT guru who wants to stay in Nigeria, who was at the time when he was at university or wherever he was, he cannot see he can't see computer or see. What do you expect him to be? He will be thinking of how to go to where he'll be able to implement his talent or even showcase his talent more than stay back in Nigeria. The government, if the government does not want people to go, the responsibility lies of the government to make the environment conducive, and people will not go. I will not blame anybody, though I'm not a supporter of traveling abroad. I'm not, it's not even in my thinking. I will not. In fact, before now, I used to even say that my children will not go. And now I like that after a while, I will not be in control of their life. Once they attain the age of 18, they can determine their own way of life. If they want to jump, let them jump. But for me, now here I go to stay to settle down.
All right, thank you so much, Barrister Tunji, for that response. So, and then you talked about the welfare of lecturers and medical doctors across board. Why do you think this government is not serious about the welfare of lecturers, despite the UNESCO benchmark and all of that?
Probably because it's not their priority. You can see that the priority of government is only where money will come in. Since this government came into power, what they have been more concerned about is how money will come in, how more money, how they will spend money, what they will do with the money in terms of providing a larger life for themselves, in terms of ensuring leisures or promoting more of their own lifestyle. So for me, it's about priority. The government is not showing that, too. It has priority regarding this. I can see them, people celebrating the signing into law of what's it called? The student loan act. Yeah, it's good. It's commendable. But for me, in my attitude, I don't commend paperwork. I commend implementation. I don't celebrate paperwork. I celebrate the consequences or effects of that paperwork. The implementation will be what I will celebrate. When I see the implementation, but I know in Nigeria that I'm a small boy, but at least old enough to know that in Nigeria, our major problem is enforcement and implementation, and not the law.
Very true.
For against people who will say conscience is our problem. I am not one of those people who believe conscience or any law is our problem. We have enough law in this country. The law that we have today, if we implement it the way it should be implemented, even 40%, Nigeria will be better for it.
Very true. Quickly, for the want of time, we have so many newspapers to go through, but let's just take our very last one here, the Punch newspaper. And we have the banner headline here saying electricity supply still. Manufacturers' labor tackle federal government over 240% tariff hike, insist on a subsidy.
And above that story, we have student loan. Federal government plans pilot scheme for public institutions.
And also, steady dollar supply pushes Naira to 1,262 to the dollar.
Right, and just below the big story, federal government reopens third mainland bridge. Lasma warns against speeding.
All right, so in 60 seconds, please, Barrister, if you may, let's just take a look at the steady dollar supply as said by the federal government. So many Nigerians would say this is a subsidized supply of the dollar. Do you agree to that?
Yeah, I agree. In fact, for me, I see what we're having today now. People are celebrating that dollar is gaining, Naira is gaining against the dollar. We probably don't understand it. I'm not an economist, okay, but I have my common sense and I know this. And if I ask this question, if I have answer to it, maybe probably I'll be guided. What are we doing that have improved our Naira against the dollar? What are we producing? What are we manufacturing? What have we been doing differently? What we are doing is what we are accused of failure of doing. They are just supporting the what's it called? They are just how do I put it now? Trying to fight for Naira against the dollar. In other words, bringing in money from not from the one you generated through that means. It's not market forces, that is it.
Okay.
It's not market forces that bringing it. So if it's market forces, you can educate me and say this is what is happening. This is what is happening. That is why the dollar is gaining the Naira is gaining weight against the dollar. What they are doing, as far as I'm concerned, no, is exactly what they accuse of Emefiele of doing. That Emefiele was just trying to support I can't remember the actual language again. That they were using they were supporting supporting Naira against the dollar to fight the dollar. That's what we're doing. I have not seen what they have done differently that have attracted this what's it called? Change in the, and that's why it is not affecting the price of the goods.
It's definitely very true.
That's why it's not affecting.
All right, so this is just about the time we have for our newspaper reviews today. I'd love to say thank you to Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid for being part of our show today. And also we'll indulge you, if you may, to hang around with us if you have the time to be part of our main conversation.
Thank you for having me, and it's my privilege to be here.
Thank you so very much, sir. Bye.
When we return, Army accuses Okwama monarchs of complicity in the murder of 17 soldiers in their land. Details in a moment.